the way it's presented on air is different than it happened off air. And basically, like, she's producing the show, she's lying, she's making things up. All this is flooded in. We have a million flashbacks. Everyone is over Brin at this point. And yeah, so there you go. And look, there's Jenna pointed it out. Did you not tell Uba at all? Because that makes your situation even worse. Or did you tell her and now maybe she just didn't clock it? Either situation, it doesn't look so great for Bryn, but not telling her at all. Okay, so you told her and she just didn't clock it. Fine. Now we get into, is Jenna like I just did a show the yesterday on Patreon. Like, does Kyle realize she's lying? Because that's what like Dorit brought up and Boz and like is Kyle so far gone down the Real Housewives of Beverly Hills thing that she doesn't even realize that she's lying? Does Kyle Richards realize that she's lying? That you said it was just memes. I'm gonna call memes memes now for the rest of my life. Thank you, Jennifer Tilly. So Kyle is like there. And she says, I just was sending PK memes. It's just memes. And then she reads the text and it's not just memes. So, like, does Kyle realize, like, you're reading a text that proves that you lied and you're crying and you're freaking out? Like, I don't know if Kyle realizes she actually lied. Same thing with Bryn. We had this, the women had this discussion. Does Bryn realize what she said about Uba? And, like, is she lying? The whole thing is a mess. She did this interview with Rolling Stone. She doubled down. She doubled down. And by the way, there are inconsistencies in this. She told Rolling Stone that she explained to her brother, who's the only person that knows, well, I opened up to Uba about this. She said to Rolling Stone, I told my brother that he knows, but in addition to him knowing, I opened up to Uba about this. That's what she told Rolling Stone. On the show, episode 10 of this season, she told her brother on air, you're the only person in the whole world that knows. So she's telling the brother he's the only one that knows. She's telling Rolling Stone, well, I told my brother that Uba knew, but she never told her brother that. She told her brother that he was. So there are lies. I do believe that Uba lies. I mean, that Bryn lies. I completely believe Uba in this situation. You know who Bryn reminds me of also? If I could say that Uber reminds me of Dorinda, and it's not like a tit for tat, like one for one, but she reminds me of Dorinda. I'm sorry, without overthinking it, Bryn reminds me of McSweeney. She reminds me of Leah McSweeney. Just, I mean, thirsty, not sure. I mean, again, we don't need to rehash that Leah befriended Ebony because she thought that the future of the show was to go with the black girl because we were in 2020, the height of BLM, and that her and Ebony were going to overthrow. And Ebony, I'm not blaming for any of this because she's not the one that thought this. Ebony came onto the show and was authentically herself. Leah came onto the show and said, oh, there's the black girl, and I'm going to be friends with her because the whole future of the show is this, and we're going to overthrow the old regime of Ramona. And so, well, that's not what happened. And when she saw that that wasn't happening, Leah said, oh, wait, I'm friends with you, Ebony? Well, yeah, you were. And then you just threw basically thirsty to do anything for the future of the show. Bryn just reminds me of Leah McSweeney. I can't help it. She to me is Leah McSweeney, and I can't get it out of my head. That's just what I foresee for her. So I do think, look, you guys have, so, I mean, and then by the way, well, before we get to that, so that's that, they all return to the house and now they're talking about Bryn and Bryn calls in and Raquel Chevamon says, this is total narcissist move. She just is like upset that she's not here and we are. And everybody believes Uba and Uba's really, it's truly not acting. She's really upset about this. And this is when I started being like, well, this is the Uba I love. You don't are not screaming and people have to be able to challenge you. It can't be Dorinda going crazy over Tinsley. But I like this Uba. Like it's kind of like I liked her for the first time. This episode is the first. Welcome to RHONY. I think this is the first episode in the reboot of RHONY that I've ever liked from all of last season and this season. Yeah. And there you go. And look, Bryn, I think, has bigger issues. And to me, Bryn is Leah McSweeney in that sense, and Sonia Morgan in that sense, and Kim Richards, who I love. Just she shouldn't be on the show. I think these are bigger issues. I think she needs to work them out, regardless, because I'm not so sure Bravo really cares about your bigger issues. We kept Jen Shaw. I mean, we kept Teresa. We kept whoever. We kept Kim, we kept Brandy, we kept people that we know have issues until they got in trouble or that we didn't need them for the show. I just think regardless, Brin is going to lose her job. That's really what I think. I think she would have lost it anyway. I really think she's going to lose it now. You all have gone, I have mixed reactions to how everyone is reacting. There's no trigger warning on this podcast. Free speech is still in. I don't believe in overly dramatic for the sake of being dramatic. There's a lot of Bravo web pages and podcasts that are like, oh, this is the most trigger warning. Now, look, I'm not diminishing. I mean, sexual assault is a real thing and has happened to a lot of people that I know in the world. Gay, straight, man, women, women on women. I mean, sexual assault knows no boundaries. So I am not diminishing that at all. But I mean, this is life and shit happens and lots of people died today. So I just don't like the fake, like, this is the most traumatic episode ever of Housewives history and trigger warnings. That's all great. And it happening on this podcast. Anyone has a problem with that? What the fuck are you doing? Keep hate listening to me because we ain't having a fucking trigger warning here. So I think it's a little bit of dramatics, people grabbing for clicks and grabbing for this and grabbing for that. And it's weird. Anything that feels hypocrisy to me and not authentic is weird to me. Trust me, you don't want me to be that person and start having, special episodes. But, you know, um, it, yeah, so I think that Brin isn't going to come back regardless. I think it was a good episode. Uba, I think, look, I think we have to change up the cast. I don't really think it's going to just be Brin. Uba, I think, might lose her job also. I don't know. There's got to be cast changes to keep this. I mean, this ending gives me hope for next season. But again, we can't have Monica Garcia back to have a whole season about everyone forgiving reality Von Teese. This season was much more interesting. We have to move on. We can't have Alexis Bellino back to have a whole nother season about Shannon and Alexis rekindling the relationship with John in the background. We have to change the show each season. So next season can't be all about this. This is a very interesting end and it's a good show. And I do think changes are coming. And I think Brin is losing her job. You guys have all gone on a complete tirade, demanding that either Brin get fired or RHONY get canceled. Have at it. I can't really argue with that. I just want something, but mine is based more on and yeah, I do think it's disgusting to say someone knew. Look, did Brin know that Uba didn't know? It's a very fine line. It's very blurred. I think regardless, she's going to lose her job. I don't think what she did is right. I think, I don't know, maybe Raquel Chevrolet, maybe. I mean, is there any chance that I doubt that Rebecca Minkoff is going to be back? She was so boring. We got to change this up. I think Rebecca is gone. I think Brin is gone. Maybe Raquel is gone. I mean, she's not so interesting. Maybe she lives to see another day. Uba, I don't know. Uba's man apparently is a billionaire and he's fucking hot as hell. I mean, she's gorgeous. I don't know why Uba even wants to be on the damn show.